first time, Elliot, I think that's the only event I ever RSVP to on time in my life. Louder? That works? There's like a... With your permission, the permission of all the very important people here, the whole Kahal Kadosh, the different ministers of government that are here showing their respects, my dear colleagues, the different Rabbanim and Rabbaniot that are here, my wife, Rabbi Dr. Halevy, and God, Kadosh Baruch Hu, who's here with all of us. It's a big honor for me to be here. It wasn't so long ago that I was standing here with you doing a Shabbat. And actually, I tried not to stand here. I tried to stand down there, if you remember. But I didn't come today to talk about Magen David Congregation because I spent the whole Shabbat talking to you about yourselves already last time. Today I came out of respect to a dear friend, Rabbi Dr. I learned a new title, Colonel Soussan and his wife, Rabbi Dr. Amy Soussan, who are very, very dear to my wife and I. And so I want to tell you a story about a rabbi. Once upon a time, like me, there was a Jew who showed up at a synagogue on Friday afternoon. And he had nowhere to stay, nowhere to eat. He didn't know what to do, so he walked in the synagogue and said, Rabbi, can you set me up with a family for Shabbat? And the rabbi said, sure, I have that guy over there, Yaakov, go to his house. Goes to Yaakov's house. The guy hosts him like a king. Towels heated in a special towel rack, and shampoo and dinner, steaks, Shabbat afternoon lunch, the whole thing, Saturday night. The guy says, thank you so much for hosting me. It's so special to be part of the Jewish people. Everywhere we go, we don't need Airbnbs, we don't need VRBOs, we just have other Jews that host us. And the guy says, yeah, but don't walk away so quickly. Here's your bill. And he outlines the whole bill. $7 for the towel, the little shampoo, $5, the bed was $75, the blanket, a whole bill. I said, you crazy? The rabbi said I could stay at your house. I'm not paying for this. Well, let's wait till the morning, we'll talk to the rabbi. They wait until the morning, they come to the rabbi's office, the guest says his part, the host says his part. The rabbi says, I've never had this question before, let me consult the Jewish legal codes. He goes to the back office, he comes out after an hour and says, I'm sorry to tell you, but according to the Jewish law, you have to pay him every penny you owe him. He said he's going to host you, but not for free. And the guy walks out of the rabbi's office and says, okay, here's a check. He signs a check. He gives it to his host, Yaakov. Yaakov takes the check, rips it up, throws it in the trash. So what's going on? He said, I don't need you to pay me. He says, so what was the whole thing? You dragged me to your rabbi. I said, I want you to see what a jerk we have for a rabbi. I've stood before many synagogues where I could tell that joke and say, you know what a jerk you have for a rabbi? Some of my congregants might say the same thing. But here I can tell you who you have for a rabbi. Your rabbi, of all the character traits that I heard mentioned tonight, is the most humble Talmid Chacham, Torah scholar, that I have met in my life. And when I tell you about humble, someone mentioned integrity, those are words that go together. Rabbi Soussan and I, aside from a love of doctors clearly, and a love of parrots clearly, because we do that also, we both graduated from the same rabbinical school. Him a few years before me. And yet somehow in his busy life and the things that he's doing around the world, every time I call Rabbi Soussan, he says, I just finished listening to one of your lectures. I say, why are you wasting your time listening to my lectures? But that's how humble of a man was here. It reminds me of our forefather Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe, as a leader, was first recognized when he was a little boy raised in Egypt. And he saw two people fighting each other. And what does he do? He stands up for the underdog. A leader, a rabbinic leader especially, is a person who knows always to stand up for those people who have no one else to stand up for them. There's a famous story in the Talmud, and I promise that I will not speak long tonight, so please just bear with me. A story in the Talmud that says that Rabban Gamliel was a famous rabbi who was on a boat, and he saw two young Torah scholars who were very poor. And he saw they had no money. He said, let me give them a job as a rabbi. And the ship parks in the dock, and he says, come, I want you to be a rabbi. And he sends for them once, and they don't come, and twice, and they don't come. At a certain point, he sends them messengers, and he says, you're not coming because you're humble. You don't want this job. Like Rabbi Henri didn't want this job when I saw you last time I was here. And they said, listen, we don't want honor. He says, you think the job of being a leader is an honorable one? He says, I'm giving you servitude, I'm giving you slavery, I'm giving you suffering. And the truth is that our greatest rabbis, for example, Rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook, the first chief rabbi of Israel, used to sign his letters as servant of the Jewish people in the Holy Land. We are public servants primarily. Rabbi Soussan, the job that you have taken on your shoulders, it's not an easy one. It's not a fun one. All of the people here look at you to be there for them when nobody else is here for them. And I know that if there's anyone who's able to rise to that occasion, it's my friend Rabbi Soussan and Rabbinate. But there's one qualifier to that statement. This community is a Sephardic one, particularly in the footsteps of our HaShamayim, our rabbis from Morocco. One of my favorite rabbis from Morocco, his name was Rabbi Yosef Messas. And he writes, you know what it means to be a rabbi? He said, if I had to give a description of what does it mean to be a rabbi, he said, imagine you take somebody and you tie his hands behind his back, you tie his legs behind his back, you tie his mouth shut, and then you throw him in the lion's den. He said, if the lions are hungry, they're going to devour him right now. And if not, they're going to devour him later. My friends, I see Rabbi Yosef nodding his head. My friends, when a rabbi gives you his heart and his soul, and I speak from experience, and a Rabbinate gives you everything that she has, because she has a lot of things going on in her life too. When they're giving you everything and they're being vulnerable to you as your leaders, the one thing you could give them back, don't be like all the other communities in this country. Don't devour them like lions. Recognize that just like they gave you their heart, they need your heart too. And when you talk about people like Bernard and Elliot and their wives and their families and the parents that started these communities, and I don't want to mention everyone's names or I'll offend them. These families all recognized that the only way to build a community is with a heart. And when I walked into this room with my wife said, Yonatan, it feels like we came home, like we were here yesterday and we're back home. And I want to just tell you on behalf of myself and my community, we love you. And we know that we love you because you confirmed your choice of choosing as a rabbi and a rabbinate the two people in the world who we love most. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless you. HaKadosh should bless, especially all of our brothers and sisters in the Holy Land that are fighting for their lives, and then all of you are standing here today and praying for them. We live in a great country. You're in the capital of that country. We're lucky to be living in a place where we have a rabbi who leads our community, who's a professor in a military university, who's able to teach ethics and morals not just to us, but to the whole world. From this place, from this community, great things will happen, and this is only the beginning. I hope to be with you in your next 25-year celebration. Also, Bezrat Hashem. Amen.